Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to more Metroid 2 here on the Heavy Basics channel. Last episode, we went through the second breeding grounds, which we sucked horribly, but we got a good 35%. Now we've arrived at the Eastern Caverns. Moving on to our next area in particular, we have to hunt another 10 more Metroids. If you're probably going to get a little bit annoyed by the format by now, don't be surprised. This is what Metroid 2 was. And we are also about a good percentage off. But before we do that, head over here and we find ourselves a hidden missile package. You're not normally supposed to find this yet, but if you are persistent with your finding, you can go ahead and do stuff. This is an area we're also going to be getting some major upgrades in particular. One very good upgrade in particular is going to be a huge benefit coming up because, as it literally turns out, as you're about to see in a minute, the difficulty spike's going to go up again. Moving on to our next area. Very large caverns. In other words, we're going to have trouble. We have trouble right now, and I think most of us are going to have trouble at this point using, say, the spider ball, but as you can pretty much tell from this, the cave is gigantic. This is, of course, the easternest point in all. This is the eastern cave. It is the most furthest eastern point in all of the region. But there's also a good reason why we're also here. I'm also, as you mentioned before, it does have the Super Metroid formula, which we can do this anyway. So what I do is bump jump to the ceiling and use the spider ball to explore where we are, where is this new section. And we have a very large cave roof. Right here. Right here in particular. Actually, no, that was just one cave roof. This is the actual roof of the cave. Pretty large, isn't it? Scary, too. Normally, you go through this and you have no idea where you're heading to. Oh, and it turns out there's another cave room, too. You can tell how big this area is. You can tell from the pillars as well. Once we get to a certain specific point, as in the map will auto-update right about here, we have discovered our next environment. Welcome to the industrial complex. This is an interesting place. This was in the game. It was not mentioned specific because it was involved in the original Metroid, except this is the new Area 4. So, as it turns out, there is an industrial complex here. So it turns that the mighty Chozo had weapons research and development, and had, well, obviously, since you got most of their technology built into your fucking veins, here we have a brand new door type. Now, if you play Super Metroid, you recognize the door color. It's green, which means likely that we're going to be getting some super missiles, which, to be perfectly honest, were not in the original game, but they are a much welcome boost. This one. That's going to be a little bit later. Today is going to be in particular one vital piece of equipment that we desperately need. As you can see, it's pretty much alluded to this point, is the caves are going to get larger jumping mechanics. And when they do that, they're going to be a bit difficult. So down here, after shooting some stuff, we get some more missiles. More in particular, head towards that. And once we do that, we have found a save station. Very important, but we're not going to do that yet until we actually have what we're looking for. Now, I would say go for that section, but I'm gonna get this out of the way because this is a lot more tricky. Even with or without the frickin' space, without the special item, it's gonna be a bit of a bitch. Which pretty much is gonna be, I think, good reason to upgrade our wares. And believe me, these things are very, very annoying. They're supposed to represent ancient machinery. In fact, this area does actually make more sense when it says, like I said before, it represents ancient machinery. And of course, there's a red door, which means there's a secret. And of course, the introduction of this game, in particular, the Spazer Beam. Spazer was introduced in Metroid 2, and it is a brilliant improvement. It is basically a triple shot, increasing our, combining our very good weapon toe. It gives us a bit of extra muscle in our beam capability, but also, this is going to be very useful later on, because we're going to be facing off more stuff. And as you can see there, we have 5 energy tanks, which we normally do not have. But, as you can see, the amount of stuff that is there. So we're heading back the way we came. The reason why is because, with the Spazer upgrade, it's going to make this next encounter a little more fathomable, a lot more easier, a lot more, I don't know, a lot more better, in my opinion, a lot more better. Head towards that, head swinging towards that, heading up to here. Let's get rid of that, and then head up to here. Before we do so, I was going to say I would save, but apparently we're not doing that yet. Imagine that, imagine that. Right, now, let's go get what we should have done in the first place. It is optional as an item, but you don't have to get it immediately. I'm getting the Spazer because it's going to make things a little bit easier from now on because, you know, we lacked beam capability. And imagine so, right there in the bottom left corner, it is that one. And we get introduced to the space jump. This is one of Samus's most valuable techniques. The ability to jump continuously in the air is a very vital skill, and of course these cave walls are getting bigger. But, as before, we have a boss to deal with. And we're going to be going up against this chappie. It is, of course, the return of the Torizo. The Torizo is a very is a simple boss in previous games. Here, it's a beefy challenge. The reason is, we haven't got the means to take it on, and of course, it's the most advanced Torizo period. I mean, you have an industrial complex, and this was an included boss. As I mentioned before, there are bosses in this game that take place in vital areas. Torizo, if you've never taken on the Torizo, treat it as you treat it in Super Metroid, right towards the beginning of that game and the subsequent second one. All the more improvement. If you hit this thing, it'll go with energy waves that'll literally be powerful, but also we hit this, and then normally this would be destroyed, right? Wrong! This Torizo has now spouted freaking wings! And it is now a formidable foe. This is why we need the space jump. Kind of impressive. Very well. Says wants to do that. It kind of feels difficult when you have this Torizo is actually challenging, because it fires its freaking spore egg things, and then it now does its own charge whenever you are in the certain room. Very interesting if you're going for no hit runs. Let's just smash it here, smash it there. Use missiles if you have to. I mean, you have to basically start using damage. Go straight to it, because we're going to be like here for a bit. And once we get to a certain point, I mean, you will do want to avoid the spikes on the floor. And that's it for the Torizo. The Torizo is dead. Get all the goodies. And now that we have the space jump, which is really important, we can now properly explore not only the rest of this area, but we can also explore caves now that we literally have the damn thing to do. So if you keep pressing the jump button in a certain timing, you can jump very large distances. It is the ultimate traversing tool, because it literally it doesn't run on gauges, it just runs on pretty much good memory. It's just like really, really good. And sometimes there is another item needing to go by. So I can see, we have found our way. We have literally got everything that we need for this episode. We now have gained not only the Spazer Beam, but also the ability to jump further distances, jump high. Once we combine it with another item, we would literally be on fucking touchable. So next time on Super Metroid, Metroid Return of Samus, let's start exploring this industrial complex and see what treasures lie within. Bye for now.